Hey, what's up, fellow heathens? Alex here, and I'm sorry it took me so long for this to get out, but you know what? It's finally here. My review for the 2024 Crow movie starring Bill Skarsgard and FKA Twigs. And you know what? It was fairly entertaining. I really enjoyed it. Was it trying to be better than the original or surpass the original? No. I think it was just trying to be a readaptation for the kids of today. Did it work? Yes and no. Now, you wouldn't really get that from all the hate that it's gotten on the internet, even before the movie was released. Like, shoot, you had the first look of Bill Skarsgard's Eric Draven, even though he's not called that, and people were comparing it to Jared Leto's Joker from Suicide Squad. But I didn't mind it. Now, with that said, is this film worth being redeemed? Yes, because it had some very good qualities and very not so good qualities, but that's movies. No movie is perfect. There's flaws in every freaking movie, even your favorite ones. Um, but that being said, the 2024 Crow movie was not trying to surpass the original with Brandon Lee because I think it knew it would never be able to. Like, that just is on such a high pedestal, let's face it, because of the untimely death of Brandon Lee. Now, me personally, I think had Brandon Lee not died making that movie, it would still be as popular, and there wouldn't be such a stigma against the remake. But in a different universe, that's what happened. But unfortunately, in this universe that we live in, Brandon Lee's no longer with us, and everyone wanted to jump on the hate train because it gets you more views. Um, like I said, I enjoyed it. It was very freaking entertaining. I was hooked. I wanted to see what was happening next, even though yes, it did like lag a bit, mostly in the love story development, which I called out in my review of the trailer for this movie. I have a feeling we're gonna spend a lot, like first 20 minutes of the movie with the couple, which they didn't need to do it in the original, and you still felt for both of them. So if they do this, it's probably gonna drag at least until you get to the action part. But it was really, really well done. It looked fabulous. Like, it was probably a little too glossy and not so dungy and dirty as the original, but you kind of have to. You can, they had to pick. Do you pick dungy and dirty and try to make it your own, or pick a completely different style and look, a little glossy, a little bit more finessed, and make it your own? It's a lose lose, and I think it was really well done. I like the lore of this movie. I like the purgatory. The purgatory in this movie reminded me of the purgatory in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part One. It was like a train station, a deserted train station, but not as white and oh, it was more like, where the hell am I? And I kind of like that instead of getting the Skull Cowboy from the comics, we get someone similar. I forget the character name, but I think that was supposed to play the two parts. Oh, three. Skull Cowboy, because he explained his powers to Eric. And then, not only is that, Sergeant Albrecht and Sarah from the original, because there's no Sarah or Albrecht characters in this. Which, there was a police officer, and I thought that might have been Albrecht, but, unfortunately was more a henchman for the bad guys. The gore in this was, oh my god, I had to look away a few times because it was just brutal, and that normally doesn't happen to me. I don't mind a little bit of gore and whatnot. Like, when Eric first finds out that he's able to regenerate, he had I think an intestine kind of protruding, so the wound couldn't close, so he had to push that in, and the sound effect and his scream, his pain, his scream of pain and agony. Oh my God! Like until then, that's when and they showed the wound heal, and that's one thing that this movie gets on top of the original, the healing scene. Like, granted, the first one you saw was when Brandon Lee jumps on the broken window thing and grabs onto the window frame and cuts up his hands, and then you see that was good. But like here, like you see the things connect and whatnot, and like it was just like that was really well done. I that was one of my favorites. Now again, this isn't a this isn't a remake of the Brandon Lee movie. This is a readaptation of the comics. So if you're gonna go in there with the mentality of look at it like you would Batman or Superman or Spider Man. There's multiple different Spider-Mans, multiple different Batmans, and multiple different Supermans. You have Christopher Reeves, you have the Lois and Clark from the TV, you have Henry Cavill from the Snyder verse, and then you have on the Batman side you have Michael Keaton, um, Ben Affleck, and then even within the same continuity of the Keaton ones, you have Val Kilmer, George Clooney, who played the character, or Christian Bale. You know, God forbid that you forget him. And then on Spider-Man, you have Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and then the new MCU Spider-Man, Tom Holland. So you could just look at it that way and learn to appreciate them. Like, granted, yeah, you're gonna have people that might like the Brendan Lee interpretation better because it was the first one, and because he passed away while making that movie. But I was able to put all of that aside and go into it with low to little expectations because, like I said, I love the first one. I've never read the comics because I could never get my hands on them, and they were so expensive too. So I'm more of a fan of the original movie, though I respect that it comes from a source material, and I respect what the source material represented for not only the artist but those that were able to read it. I'm actually a little jealous. But that being said, this adaptation did a decent job. Like, it's not perfect in any way, but no movie is. Some of our favorite movies have a ton of flaws, but their triumphs or strengths, as it were, surpass the flaws, and we're able to overlook it. Sometimes it's the reverse. You know, sometimes a movie's flaws are so much that their strengths it outweighs their strengths, and you can't outlook it. I mean, look at Wicked Prayer. No one talks about it because it's such a bad movie. That being said, like people that want to be, oh, this is the worst Crow movie. Crow Wicked Prayer. Sorry, you're not gonna tell me that Wicked Prayer is better than this. No, you are lying to yourself if you say that. And I'm yes, if you're gonna continue to say that the 2024 movie is worse than Wicked Prayer, one thing I gotta say to you, and I want to say it as politely as possible: mentiroso. No mentiras. Don't lie. Stop lying. Why are you always lying? So that said, I did enjoy the purgatory state. Like Skarsgård goes there, I think, 3 times during the course of the movie. There's I forget exactly, but like one of the things that's said to Skarsgård is, if in order for him to keep his powers, the love for that he has for Shelley has to remain pure. And at one point in the movie, Eric finds out a secret that Shelley was alluding to throughout the movie, which is she had murdered someone, but it wasn't her own because it wasn't on her own volition. She was by the antagonist manipulated, like through demonic manipulation, I guess would be the word, because it's not possession. I think it's more demonic manipulation to commit a heinous act, which was killing someone, and it was caught on tape. And Eric finds it and starts doubting. And when he does, he then has to make a choice of, does he want to save Shelley's life and his, or it's been a while. Like, I'm sorry. So I'm trying to think. He has to make a decision, and right before the final act at the opera house from the trailers, you see Skarsgård negotiate his life for Shelley's. So he was going to trade his resurrection, I guess, as it were, for Shelley's, which I think was a great move because it was, instead of the happy ending that you would have thought, it was a fucking curveball to me. When he said that, I was like, oh, and I'm like, how is this gonna be? Like, is he gonna have? I I enjoyed it. I thought though that at the end it was gonna be a happy ending, but it wasn't. It was very, I guess, melancholy, because Shelley is resuscitated at the end, and ironically, the dude that was befriending Skarsgård in the afterlife was the paramedic, and he tells her that he fought hard for her. So I don't know if he was in fact an angel or a demon. Like, he doesn't really say. I forget, or if he does, I forget. But I don't know if the character at the end is human, or if he is someone that can walk both planes of the living and the dead. But either way, it was nice. The lore that they incorporated was interesting. I like. However, you didn't really see a lot of crows. Like, you did, but not like in the original. But I would have liked more crow, the actual bird, the crow. And yeah, Eric Skarsgård doesn't really become the crow until like the last third of the movie. In the second third of the movie, he does more of a reconnaissance, as it were, to kind of find out the people that killed both him and Shelley. And with that said, he doesn't have the makeup, but if he did, if he would have been more recognizable, even though they end up figuring out who the hell he is anyways. So it's like, that was kind of pointless, but I kind of get it. And yeah, like, oh my god, speaking of the regeneration, you kind of see the fight in the trailer. It's the one where he's going under the tunnel, or in the tunnel, and he's in the car, and then he gets launched out the SUV, and you see him right before he gets hit by some kind of like 18-wheeler, and yeah, like, oh god, that was brutal. Like, you see the bone that popped out, and like then it, like, as he's healing, he's like, oh god, like, ugh. Now, unfortunately, this wasn't a big movie experience. Like, I went when it came out on Friday, and there was probably like 5 other people altogether, like, including me. So it's like 5, 6 people, including me. Which is unfortunate, but I don't really remember much promotion for it. So either Lionsgate was really unsure of what they had, or they just wanted to release it and be like, fuck it. If we lose money, we lose money. But Lionsgate, like, I enjoyed it. One thing I didn't like, though, is at the end they tried to have a teaser for a sequel. Don't do that. Movie studios, don't do that. Especially in a remake, because you don't know if people are going to like your remake. Make a standalone. If people like it, then great. But you don't have to allude to a sequel. That's dumb, and it's going to make people not like your movie even more. Now, that being said, I like the movie regardless, so the fact that they thought that there might be a sequel, hey, great. But like I said, let your movie speak for itself. There wasn't really any callbacks as far as lines that I can recall. Um, and like I said, like it didn't try to surpass the Brandon Lee movie, which I think is a smart move. Like you can't like that's forever um, Brandon Lee's movie. But I like that they tried to readapt it for kids of today because that's what it was made for. It wasn't made for the old fans that grew up with the comics or the Brandon Lee movie. It's for kids of today, and I don't know how many kids of today went to see it, but if any of them went to see it and they liked it, great. If they didn't, hey, there's 94 movie. Check that out if you haven't. You'll fall in love with this universe regardless. But if you did enjoy it, I'm happy. Thank you. Welcome to the fandom of The Crow. Um, I'm kind of interested to see if any kids are gonna dress up as either the Brandon Lee version of The Crow or Skarsgård. Because now you got multiple. I mean, you had multiple with the sequels, but like, there's, as you see, this is my version, my take on the Crow get up. I kind of incorporate everything from all the Crows, as you see. And then this one, yeah. Anyways, speaking of the antagonist, played by Danny Houston, who played, I believe, William Stryker in X-Men Origins, Wolverine. Um, I would have liked to see more of him. Like, get to learn more about who he is as a villain antagonist. You don't really get his motivation why he wants the power of the Crow. He's already an immortal, as it were. He's a henchman for Satan, who goes and murks young, innocent people, not just females. I think maybe just women, but anyways, he corrupts them, has them do commit a heinous act, and then whatever, and then in return, the devil gives him everlasting life. So I don't know why he wanted the Crow. Maybe to walk in between the realms or whatever they call it. But I would have liked to have that fleshed out a little bit more. It would have been interesting. It would have done the movie a little bit more of a service than a disservice. Um, Now, the scene in the opera house that you see in the trailer, I thought that was gonna be the climax of the movie, but no, 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 no. The climax of the movie is another 10 minutes, um, and that was just so unnecessary. Like it was kind of anticlimactic, anticlimactic. Me personally, um, because there was no reason for it. Like, but I get the bad guy escaped. You have to go after the bad guy, but like, I didn't. That was one of the only things I did not like. On top of the lagging with the sluggishness with the love story building. Um, Now people are saying FKA Twigs didn't do a good job. I think she did an alright job. I'm pretty sure this is probably her first acting gig. I think she's what, a musician, a singer, some kind of songwriter. She did okay. If she was to get more acting gigs, probably get an acting coach. Just just so people don't continue to hound you for your inability to act. She did fine in my opinion. There's been a lot fucking worse, a hell of a lot worse. The main love story is about two broken people finding each other and falling in love and feeling safe with each other. Um, it's also it's very reminiscent of a high school romance, as it were. You know, it started off strong, and it seemed like it was primarily only about sex because you pretty much only saw them boink more than anything. Although you had a few moments where they were also smooching or cuddling. So I don't know. Like I think it could have been built upon a little bit better, but you know, for what it was, it did a decent job. You know, again, it added to the mythos quite nicely. I enjoyed it. If there is ever a sequel, God willing, I will be there to watch it. I enjoyed it. Um, this, at least to me personally, in my ranking of the films, takes either the second or third place. So it would go still Wicked Prayer at bottom of the barrel, then City of Angels, then Salvation or 2024 Crow, Salvation 2024 Crow, still haven't figured out. And then top spot still goes to OG starring Brandon Lee. Um, Now, for my rating of this movie, I give it a 4.5 out of 5. But that's only because of a few things that I at the right now can't recall because I've only seen it once and it was opening day. But there's a lot of things I did like, and they, for me personally, I'm able to overlook them, some of them, and some of the flaws kind of work in its favor, in my personal opinion. So 4.5 out of 5. Um, if you guys disagree, just let me know down in the comments down below. And it's okay to disagree. Just don't be dicks about it, guys. That's all I ask. Until next time, live free, be safe, take care, positive vibes, and much wicked clown love. Later, guys.